Okay. You're good.
Oh, okay. Alright, my name is Bambi, and I did my presentation on dual counseling concerning domestic violence and sexual assault. My vision was for all victims of domestic violence that have also been sexually assaulted to be given counseling concerning both issues, be encouraged to open up about these issues, and more importantly, feel that both the domestic violence and sexual assault are a concern of the centers. Needs assessment. Counselors are not educated in sexual assault, although 48% of domestic violence victims suffer from both at the center. Victims are being referred out to agencies concerning sexual assault, and most of them go to Prairie Sexual Assault Center in Springfield. Victims are being victimized by this process. At least I feel that they're being victimized. Most victims, they don't want to open up. So then when they finally do open up, they don't want to go somewhere else and do it all over again. Victims may not go for counseling concerning sexual assault because of fear of new counselors or at the new facilities, which I've already stated. And victims may stop counseling sessions altogether out of fear that counselors don't really care about the victim's issues as a whole. My strategic plan. I have 3 different ones. The first one is for domestic violence and sexual assault to be in the shelter. So the agency's goal would be to train. They have 7 full-time staff members, so all 7 of them would need to be trained in sexual assault. The action steps, Prairie Center actually does a 40-hour training course on sexual assault so that they could actually go there and get the training that they needed so that they would be prepared for the sexual assault. The second strategic step would be for comprehensive services to be done by June of 2013. They do not have a website right now, and their brochures do not talk about sexual assault because they don't provide for it. So the first one would be to have a practicum student, probably from our college, go and design the website. And the second goal would be to have a practicum student, again from MacMurray College, design a new brochure that included sexual assault. And then we would take this brochure design to the printing presses here locally, and then we would administer them along with all the other brochures that we already pass out to everybody. My third strategic step, obviously, would be to have a full-time sexual assault member advocate in the center. We would hire somebody that knew and was experienced in sexual assault, and we would do that by advertising by word of mouth and advertising by paper for someone that did know sexual assault and was experienced in this. We would hire the sexual assault advocate, and then we would inform the sexual assault advocate of his or her duties that would be done at the shelter. My SWOT analysis. The opportunities advocates can counsel on both domestic violence and sexual assault. Victims can feel better, have a better sense of security and well-being because they're being talked, like they can talk about all of the problems, not just domestic violence. They would have a website, which they don't have now, and a new design brochure. Threats. HICASA, which goes over the entire state of Illinois, pretty much decides what each domestic violence shelter does, so they might not want to take on sexual assault. Dual grants might not be awarded to the crisis center, and other funders might not want to provide money for sexual assault victims. Strengths, the organization can counsel on both issues, which is I think it's a big priority just because so many domestic violence women are sexually assaulted. Victims will benefit tremendously from this dual program. Once again, because they don't have to go to other shelters, they can go and stay and talk to their original counselor. Victims will remain in counseling and have more positive outcomes. And once again, it's just because, like I said, they don't want to necessarily open up about what they've already been talking about with somebody else. Weaknesses, not all victims suffer from domestic violence and sexual assault. Like I said, 48% of them do. Knowledge of both domestic violence and sexual assault can be overwhelming. Domestic violence is a big issue. Sexual assault is a big issue, and to combine them might be just really draining and, I don't know, higher burnout rate, definitely. People will get really tired of it really quickly. My budget was just for the year. Sexual assault training for 7 full-time employees was $595. The brochures were $600 priced at, so $1,200 would be for the original brochures that they do, and then another $600 would be for the new brochures. The website, basically I roughed it out to about $10 a month, so it'd be $120 a year. And full-time sexual assault, I talked to Donna, who's the chair, or well, she's the main person at the crisis center, and this is usually what they start out at, not necessarily exactly, but a rough estimate. And the totals would be $26,915 for a year. And in closing, counselors should be trained in both domestic violence and sexual assault. Our victims deserve to be treated for both of the issues concurrently, and the crisis center should seek permission for obtaining a sexual assault advocate for the center. Any questions? Joe?
I like that laugh, Shelley. Memories. So is 40 hours of sexual assault training from the Prairie Center all that's required to be trained and skilled in sexual assault counseling? Because, so if all 7 staff are trained in sexual assault counseling, what's the additional hire going to be? Like, will they be more specialized?
Well, if they will be more specialized, they'll have more training in it, but then they can also, if there's other full-time, because obviously your burnout rate, you're going to have more and more people in there, they can then train the new people that are coming into the facility so that they don't have to take that money and take it and give it to Prairie.
Okay, so they can do the training as well, so that there can be more specialization than just the 40 hours.
Right.
Other questions? Thank you very much.
Okay.